Alright, so I recently made a tier list of all the DCEU and MCU characters based on the films that I've watched and the TV series that I've watched, and then of course there's some that I've not watched, so I've left those out. Regardless, on the left here, I've made a copy of the same thing on the right. I can't find one character that I'm not sure where the picture went. I may have overlooked it or something, but regardless. The left is based on all the MCU films that we saw, and also DCEU films that we saw. So there could be some variations because you guys may have seen certain TV series that I have not. For example, maybe you've seen Legends of Tomorrow, and you believe that the Atom can take on everyone else, or maybe because of that, certain characters are actually more nerfed, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean there could be some differences between your knowledge and mine, but I'll just have to work with it. So what I'm going to do now is try my best to see how I can rearrange the list from the left on the right hand side based on the comics that I've read. So in the comics, there's a lot of variations, especially what people consider to be canon is really totally up to the author's imagination because a comic can be written by anyone basically, and that's one of the most amazing things about how movies differ from the comics. Where in the comics, where there's a new variation, you just say that, oh, this is the version of this particular author, and it took place in a certain way, the story is built in a certain way. But whereas in the films, we always demand for like the ideal what do you call this form of that character, or a specific form of canon in that character, because we feel that we don't always get films. There's like 100,000 comics of certain characters like Superman, whereas there's only like maybe less than 100 films. So the ratio is the reason why people demand, they want to see the most canon form of a specific character, even though in the comics no one complains about something like that because they are so used to it. But I guess moviegoers are not really used to it because they don't really get these films. We don't really get many films of let's say Captain Marvel. We have never got a film of Captain Marvel, so it's the first time we're seeing her. We want her to be as close as possible to the comics. However, if it was a comic and you got a new version of Captain Marvel who is even a guy, once again another gender swap, no one is going to be really questioning it because she's been there in the comics for so many years that it's not going to really affect anything or anyone. So those are some of the things we need to take note of when I mention canon and variations, because it really depends on the comic authors. Like if tomorrow someone says that, oh no, everything that you've read so far is not, this latest comic is canon, you'll just accept it blindly. So let me just tell you to just take your head out of that box that you think is canon and start just looking at characters in the average of what they normally do. Like we normally know that, for example, Superman is weak to kryptonite and he can be beaten by Batman. But there are also versions where Superman is no longer immune to kryptonite because he has so much solar radiation in him that he can actually resist it. And in certain versions like Superman 1 million prime or something like that, he is like near godlike because he's been absorbing radiation from like a blue sun or something. So the versions really, really differ, and I just want you to keep an open mind to things. All right, so let's just move on. So the left-hand side is going to be the films that we have seen, and the right-hand side is going to be comics. So I'm just going to go ahead and get about it. So first off, the Eternal Beings and Dormammu are always like the SS tier kind of characters. I'm not really going to meddle with them. Doctor Strange is someone who can defeat these characters, but relies a lot on like tools and weapons, and like he relied on the Eye of Agamotto in the what do you call this film, but in the um, comics, the Eye of Agamotto is not the Time Stone. It's just a mystical artifact created by the great sorcerer Agamotto. And Agamotto is one of those sorcerers that was in a team together with Odin in the back in his days when they dealt with someone else who carried the Phoenix Force before the Phoenix Force came to Earth, and something like that. So Odin is definitely among the top tier. So is Thor. In the comics, Thor is equivalent or even more powerful than Odin in certain instances because he is the ultimate, how can you put it, like spawn of Odin. So he is capable of inheriting everything that Odin ever needs to, and he is truly powerful as the king of Asgard in a lot of comics. He can also keep up with the likes of everyone below this list, I think, making Thor probably the most powerful superhero that we see in the films, as you know, as compared to the comic version. The ancient one is also really, really powerful, similar in strength, in terms of strength to Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange, although he is extremely powerful in the mystic arts, is nowhere near as powerful as the likes of Thor, who has seen to perform a lot more magic and really world altering and world bending, time bending abilities. Dimension, reality warping. He's basically all the Infinity Stones by himself because of how much power he has. So it's pretty insane. Also, Superman in the comics is actually, has been nerfed in many different forms, but has also been shown to be extremely powerful in his ultimate and final form. So if you were to take all the better comics out there, he's actually SS tier. There's really nothing that can stop Superman if the author just says so. If they write it such that Superman beats everyone, it just happens. But to be fair, let's just put him in S tier and not take him any higher. Zeus, I believe, is in his rightful position. Captain Marvel is not really that strong compared to these characters. Neither Hela is really really powerful actually in the comics as well. I think she's in a fair spot considering her relationship with Thanos as Death and Thanos, and the fact that Thanos initially collected all the Infinity Stones to kill everyone because he loved Hela. So this is something from the comics that we don't get to see in the films, and I really hope we were going to, because they built up Hela in Ragnarok, and once again they disappointed me with the fact that they're just not going to go down that story path because they wanted Thanos to be more relatable. And I think that's fair enough because they only really introduced him, like his backstory, in one single film, which was Infinity War. But perhaps if they took a film to build him up and not really show him in the battlefield yet, things would have been slightly different. But because they had to do all of that in a single movie, they wanted us to at least feel sorry for him or like him, or show him as having an ideal so that we can lean towards him a little bit more. Whereas in the comics, he's insane. He is truly the mad titan who's doing this purely for love, I guess. And yeah, that makes him a totally different character. But yeah, even in the comics, he is S tier. He can be beaten by the likes of Thor and Odin, who are truly, truly gods. Even though they're Asgardians and they're like an ancient alien species, you can look at the version of Asgardians as some sort of super Kryptonians. Comparatively, I think that's more or less fair. Iron Man is, I would say, C tier in the comics. Is nowhere as powerful as the one depicted in the films. He is definitely still resourceful and still really powerful, but there are times he's just caught up in like very down to earth things that he doesn't really participate in a lot of intergalactic battles. Though there are versions where he builds like entire armies and takes them to war, and he also helps the Avengers a lot in terms of his resources. So you know what, we can balance him out and put him probably in B tier. So I think that's a safe place. The Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful characters in Marvel Comics. She could even be considered to rival the powers of like the Phoenix, but I don't think she's above. She's equivalent to Odin's level, so she's just gonna be there. Ares and Artemis, I think, are in a fair place. I think that's reasonably where they should be. Cyborg as well is not really as powerful as these other gods because he still loses out in the fact that, other than being a digital god who can take on everyone else who uses technology, he doesn't really fare well against a lot of other opponents. So he's gonna have to be nerfed actually quite hard. As a matter of fact, I think even further should be fine. So yeah, we don't really see him being a digital god too much. And when he is a digital god, he's only good against opponents that rely on technology. And a lot of these people in the upper like echelon of powers all depend on magic, which is completely out of his jurisdictions, sort of. Anyway, Green Lantern. Green Lanterns have always been shown to be quite powerful, and I believe that Green Lantern and the Captain Marvel's corps are similar in terms of power in the comics, and they're not really capable of facing off against these Titan level beings, I would say. So yeah, I think that's a safe place. And because Black Adam is here and Shazam is sort of his always rival, I'm gonna have to move the Shazam we see in the movies to be similar in terms of strength to what do you call this, Black Adam. So yeah, that's pretty much where they all belong. I think that's a decent list. Then we have Vision. Vision is really really powerful in the comics. He's definitely Titan level. I think this list is, yeah, Titan level. This is like demigod level. This is god tier. I think that's fair. Aquaman I think is safe where he is. Wonder Woman is definitely Titan level. She's almost in terms equal in terms of level of strength with all the other gods of Earth sort of. Um, Captain America is no. I mean, I understand he can lift the hammer and whatever, but he's not gonna be walking around with the hammer in most of the comics, which puts him really, really in a low tier. That's just unfortunate for Cap, but that's just the way it is. There's a reality of a real war in the comics compared to the films. Zod, I think, is fine where he is. Ebony Maw is also okay where he is. He could be nerfed. I think in the comics he doesn't really perform as well, but it's fair enough to say. Thanos without the Infinity Stones is about the same level as him. Agatha Harkness in the comics is quite scary. She can be considered Titan level because of the types of magic that she's been shown to carry with her, and also her knowledge and experience in the mystic arts puts her makes her quite a scary opponent because she's always competing with the likes of Strange and Scarlet Witch. So I think keeping her closer to them is a little more fair. Although she doesn't really, she's totally different in terms of power because she's relying too much on magic compared to a lot of these people who rely on physical strength as well. But if you think like Shazam and Black Adam, I think they can still beat her. That's pretty straightforward. Hulk in the comics is A tier. He's Titan level strength. Abomination is not. Abomination can compete with the likes of Hulk, but Hulk in like World War Hulk and World Breaker Hulk are just insane in terms of power. So yeah, they're Titan level. They're not demigod level. They can still be killed because you know Hulk is a human, no matter how you look at it. Batman is I'm gonna say D tier. He can't keep up with the likes of these people. Black Panther is the same tier as him. Flash is Titan level. Flash has been shown to do all kinds of insane things in the comics that we'll never probably see in the movies, but he is super, super powerful in the comics. Destroyer is Titan level in the comics. We see Destroyer annihilating a lot more than just a small town. Shuri is I think, the same level as Black Panther. She has all the resources that he has, plus she builds all the suits. She is a Black Panther in the comics as well in certain versions, so I think it's fair to say that she should be there. This burning fiery thing, I haven't really read about this guy in the comics, but I'm gonna put him in the same level as Batman and Black Panther because I believe he has weaknesses in terms of just knowing the right enchantments to get rid of him. So yeah, he can be defeated in certain ways. Orm is, yeah, just below Aquaman because Aquaman has he can control the father's trident. He can control a lot of other monsters in the ocean, and he is truly king in the comics, so we can't really compare. I think Black Dwarf is also Thanos and his generals level. I believe they're all similar in terms of strength. Thanos is just a little bit smarter and more resourceful, but Thanos with the Infinity Stones is totally different. Actually, you know what? We should put Thanos in Titan level strength. Thanos has actually shown to amass quite a bit of strength even without the stones. So yeah, but he may not be as strong as the likes of like Worldbreaker Hulk. So yeah, I think that's fair. This thing, the one that fought Thor, I believe is in the same strength level as the new Steppenwolf. This is the old Steppenwolf, so we're gonna leave him there. Ultron, I believe, in the comics is equal in his strength to all of these characters. He can amass an army and really wipe out a lot of population on the planet if he wants to. Wasp definitely doesn't belong here anymore. She's gonna be pushed a lot further down. Ronan, I think, is in the fine place. Dark Elves also. Loki is really, really powerful in the comics. He is, I would say, Titan level because of his illusion magic, his enchantments, his ability to literally turn even the likes of Thor into animals, pigs. He can even compete against the likes of Doctor Strange because the types of magic he can wield. He can fight all the other magic wielding users because of how powerful he is in the comics. So Loki truly just deserves to be just below the likes of Strange and Scarlet Witch. I think he could even be in the same level as them. It's just that I haven't truly seen too many versions of Loki doing it. So yeah, I think that's safe to say. Mera is King Orm's level. I think that's a fair enough place to be. Corvus is also in a close level to these people. In fact, Corvus Glaive is shown to be the leader of the Black Order, I believe, in the comics. Yeah, he is the leader of the Black Order. So yeah, he's quite powerful as well. He's very capable, a really good general, and yeah, for those reasons. So let's go down to this list. Excuse me. I believe Spider-Man is hmm Spider-Man should be here. Even in the comics, despite how heroic Spider-Man is seen, is like shown, he still is not super powerful in any way. I guess he can compete with the likes of a lot of other enemies. But yeah, I think he's in a fair list to be put alongside the likes of Batman and Black Panther. I've not really seen Spider-Man doing anything more than this, but besides being an awesome hero, which is what he is. So yeah, the Falcon with the Captain America version of the Falcon is actually pretty tough, but I don't think he can keep up with the likes of Batman and Black Panther. So there is that. Quicksilver in the comics is pretty insane. So yeah, he's just below Flash level. I think that's fair. Red Skull is has been shown to have a lot of other versions of him with carrying a lot of power as well, but I don't think he's that special in terms of his overall story and what I've seen him do in the comics. I've seen him like take on Cap with a lot of other powerful utilities, cannons, Hydra technologies, weapons, even machines, but that's as far as he goes. He's just like a like a classic Hydra villain. It's not really much else. I'm not really too sure about Caecilius in the comics. Uh, but I'm gonna leave him where he is and reserve judgment because I've just not like I've read about Doctor Strange dealing with even the likes of like Madam Web and taking on like like interdimensional threats and stuff, and Spider-Man fighting the likes of like Morlun and these kinds of people. But I really don't know what Caecilius does. Yeah. Anyway, War Machine in the I think he is absolutely fine where he is. If this was Hank Pym Ant-Man, I'm gonna assume the ultimate version of Ant-Man in the comics is Hank Pym. Hank Pym Ant-Man is gonna be where's Iron Man? Did I throw Iron Man away? I don't think so. Should have put him somewhere here. There he is. So yeah, Hank Pym Ant-Man is around the same level as Iron Man, but he is smarter. Hank Pym is the smartest man in the Marvel Universe. I think only second to the likes of Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, I think Mr. Fantastic is the smartest man in the Marvel Universe, followed by Hank Pym, followed by Tony Stark. So yeah, just gonna keep them around there. He's also shown to amass quite a bit of strength to fight the likes of Abomination. I've seen a giant Hank Pym kick Abomination. It's quite insane. He kicked him like a football. It's really, really insane. So yeah, I actually have to move Abomination down a little bit. I really don't think he's as strong as the likes of those in this list. Hmm. Black Dwarf should be moved down. Yeah. Quicksilver in the comics is quite powerful. Okay, I have to remove Fat Thor out of this list because he doesn't really belong in the comics. I mean, yeah, okay. Red Guardian is Captain America's level. I think all the super soldiers should be just put in one row. And yeah, I think that settles that. Yondu. Yondu in the comics is a cool character. I think he just sits in this list, in the super soldier list, next to Star-Lord. There's not really much else. Star-Lord in the comics, if you consider the variations where he does come up with quite a bit of power, knowing that he's sort of a demigod-like character. He can actually move up to even this list because of his, inheritance. So yeah, you know what? We leave him there. Gamora is actually really, really powerful in the comics, and so is Nebula. They are truly assassin level, and they can probably kill even the likes of Batman if they, were given Batman as a target. I think they can do it. It really depends on the version of Batman we're talking about, but if Batman's always prepared, like he always is, then it's really difficult to fight him. Daredevil is be seen the likes. Daredevil is seen to be taking on the likes of Spider-Man in the comics, sometimes even beating him because of pure experience and just being a better fighter. But Spider-Man with his spider sense is just too powerful, so we're gonna have to push him down. Um, the Winter Soldier I think is in a fine, fair list next to Cap as well. Hawkeye is fine where he is. Killmonger is also the only reason I put Killmonger below Black Panther is because although he's deservingly the better fighter, especially in the film, Killmonger should have been the king of Wakanda because he won the fight fair and square. So one of the reasons I didn't like the Black Panther film was because Killmonger, he deservingly is king. But anyway, the only reason he's been put down compared to Black Panther is because he doesn't have the resources that Black Panther has as a rightful ruler. Which again I'm against it, but that's just the way it is. This guy should be next to Caecilius, Baron Mordo. He's quite powerful. He's a villain in the comics, really, really powerful villain, and we might be seeing him as a villain when the next Doctor Strange film comes up. So I can't wait for that. Black Manta is where he should be. Um, Proxima is really, really, really powerful in the what do you call this comics. She's really powerful. She can take on. She has like a weapon that can like, you know, obliterate like planets and stuff. But I'm going to reserve judgment because I have seen her just fighting against regular Avengers like Cap. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep her in a balanced state for now. Kingpin is where he should be. Mysterio in the comics is really, really powerful. Vulture should actually be brought down in the comics. Vulture doesn't perform as well. Neither does Kingpin. No, you know what? Kingpin should still be there. He is still quite capable of amassing an army and also getting the right henchmen, assassinating the likes of Aunt May and stuff. Because in the comics he has a lot of resources. I think Groot should be brought to this level because in the comics he does achieve quite a bit of power, even capable of wielding Mjolnir, which makes we saw a glimpse of that actually in Infinity War, where he makes Stormbreaker. But in the comics he is capable of wielding Mjolnir, and it makes him quite a powerful adversary. But it's not all the time he does that, so I think that's fair. Heimdall, Heimdall should be here. Heimdall is really, really capable in the comics, more than capable of taking on even the likes of the Dark Elves, but not this guy. This guy is quite powerful. Yelena is not as good as Black Widow in the comics. Black Widow is by far a better fighter. Um, and yeah, she should be here among the super soldiers category. She's almost super soldier because of how well she can fight. Taskmaster can even take on the likes of Spider-Man, but I've always seen him lose against Spider-Man. It's just that he poses a threat but doesn't really go any further than that. He can definitely fight alongside all the list of super soldiers because he is a super soldier himself in the comics. In the film, I'm not sure whether they ever mentioned that Taskmaster is a super soldier, but we do see him taking on the likes of Red Guardian in the film. In the comics, however, Taskmaster is indeed a super soldier. He takes the Hydra version of the super soldier serum, so similar to what Red Skull took. And yeah, but I think Red Skull is the ultimate Hydra super soldier because he was truly evil to the core, and the serum truly makes whatever is there even more powerful. So I think that's the only reason why Red Skull is really, really terrifying. And also being the leader of Hydra back in his day, he's more resourceful, a very intelligent person, and yeah, just generally better than all these super soldiers. Probably still the ultimate super soldier if you ask me. Let's see. Okay, the Joker in the comics is here. The reason for that is because Joker in the comics is really brilliant, and he can even compare to the intelligence of like what do you call this Tony Stark? Like in a parallel universe sort of way, but he doesn't possess any power, so he's gonna have to be put in this list. And of course, because Batman is here and he's often seen fighting Batman, doesn't really beat Batman in any way, but has always posed a threat. And I think it's certain situations that he shines in, but not a lot of others. Until I see him, like do something really insane besides just tricking people, he's gonna have to stay next to Batman. Yeah, he's always posed a threat to Batman. Batman definitely beats him up in a close combat, but he's just a constant threat. Having the right resources, being absolutely insane, making decisions that no one else can even predict because of how insane he is. I think that's the reason why the Joker in the comics is so terrifying. It's because no one can think like him, especially not the greatest detective. Electra, Electra is where she should be. Whiplash in the comics is actually quite resourceful. He is really smart as well, but I'm not sure if he is deserving to be in this list. I think he should be here. Crossbones, the Punisher should be here. Um, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Mantis should be here. Yeah, I think this is a more fair list in comparison. Um, Punisher has been seen like doing a lot of insane stuff, but not as insane as what Batman has done. So yeah. All right, so there it is. This is my comparative list from film versus comics to my knowledge. And of course, I could be wrong. I'm absolutely fine with that. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know which character you feel should be, in a totally different tier, and how some of them are represented really well in the films, and some of them are truly not represented the same in any way. Especially, like Spider-Man, I think he could be moved higher because of just how much better and experienced he is in the comics. But because of the overall scale of all the other characters in the comics, I can't really move Spider-Man. Yeah, and he's definitely going to be wrecked by the likes of Abomination, Quicksilver. These people are just far too powerful for him. And even Cyborg, actually, in the comics, is definitely like Titan tier, but because of all the other Titans, I'm gonna have to put him here, and probably move Captain Marvel to Titan tier because I have seen her doing some pretty insane stuff in the comics. So yeah, I think that's the change that I should have done. I think there's one change. This guy should be here. Ronan should be here. These characters are really powerful. Even Green Lantern, the John Stewart Green Lantern, is really powerful in the comics. Yeah, I think these are some of the balances that I had left to do. And Cyborg trumps everyone. Like Iron Man, Cyborg owns Iron Man. Anyone else uses technology. Black Panther's suit is out. War Machine's out. Yellow Jacket's out. Uh, Everyone else is out. But these people can challenge Cyborg because of how brilliant they are. They'll probably find a way around him. But he's not to be taken lightly. So yeah. Okay, I think I'm quite satisfied with this. I'm not really gonna dilly dally too long because this could go on forever. There's just so many versions that are out there that a simple Google search will show me that I'm wrong. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios, guys.